Greetings, friends, and thank you for joining us for Let's Talk Travel. I'm Pat Hand, the owner of Dancing Moon Travel, and we're focusing on the exciting topic of adventure travel for the month of December. I'm just delighted that you have joined us, and I am excited to welcome this week's guest, Aimee Price, head of sales for the Western U.S. and Canada for Explora Journeys. Welcome, Aimee.
Oh, thank you, Pat. We're so excited to be here and share in this adventure-filled month that you've shared with your clients.
Right, and as our listeners have learned the past couple of weeks already, uh, adventure does not mean that you give up luxury.
No, you
Uh,
don't.
the two combine beautifully, and I'm really excited to welcome you this evening because Explora is a new preferred partner for us at our host agency, which is a Palm Coast Travel. Um, Before we dive in totally into those details, however, we always like to start by just letting our listeners get a little insight to you and your journey in the travel business. Can you share a little bit about yourself, Aimee?
Of course, I would love to. And I love I love that you use the word journey, very appropriate given where I'm at right now, because it has been a journey. You don't just end up in places as fortunate as I am without going through some sort of a journey. And my journey actually started when I was 18 and living in Iowa, where I grew up. And I was given the opportunity to explore and join Royal Caribbean as a youth staff on board a ship that many of your listeners may or may not know, the Song of Norway, one of Royal Caribbean's very, very first ships. And right when they were starting up their youth program and getting into more family travel. So I actually spent 7 years working on board ships with the Royal Caribbean family. I also was a shore excursion manager for a good portion of that time. And about 5 years of that I spent in Alaska, which is very near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love Alaska as a destination and could talk about it for hours on end.
I get that because Alaska always comes out in on my top 3 list of
Yep.
favorite trips. Wherever I have gone, Alaska
Yep.
figures in there.
It
So
definitely is.
continue.
Well, so actually I ended up having about a 28-year career with Royal Caribbean, and it's what actually brought me to Seattle, because Royal Caribbean at one time owned and operated their own land-based tour company with train cars and motor coaches that was based out of Seattle. So I moved from Miami up to Seattle and was a big part of that land-based tour operation, and ended up staying in Seattle and joining the sales team with Royal Caribbean, and had a great career there, learned a ton from Vicki Freed and her team over there, and then was given the opportunity to make a jump just before the pandemic over to Seabourn Cruises.
Wow.
And broaden my horizons into the luxury space of the cruise industry, which was extremely rewarding. Unfortunately, it was a time that was a little difficult, as we all know, during the pandemic.
Sure.
But it also introduced me to my former and current boss, Chris Austin, who was brought over to Explora Journeys to start up this amazing new European luxury lifestyle brand that happens to be in the cruise industry. So that's a little bit about my journey.
And Explora Journeys, I mean, you guys really are just coming out of the starting block at this point. What is the niche that you're aiming for in the travel market? How would our listeners identify themselves as a perfect candidate for your brand?
Of course, of course. Well, we did a lot of listening ourselves prior to even developing the brand. So I know a lot of people are probably thinking you're crazy for starting up a new cruise line in the middle of a pandemic. But you know what? Actually, we think we're actually positioned quite well to be very successful because of the fact that we had the time to listen. And we listened to over 20,000 potential clients of yours, potential guests of ours, and really through those conversations, we are building a brand that they want to experience. And there were a lot of learnings that we took away. And some of them include the fact that luxury guests want space, they want choice, they want privacy, they want time, They want time to spend and dive deeper into destinations and move a little bit slower. And the guests that we feel really will enjoy what we have to offer are guests probably in the affluent, working, wealthy age group, around 45 to 65. But we also anticipate that we're going to have some multi-gen travelers on our trips. So we have accommodations built out on board for families traveling with their children. Affluent, working, wealthy families tend to have children later in life. So we definitely want to be accommodating for children and welcome them on board. But we also recognize that we will have those guests that can spend more time with us, those guests that can do back-to-back journeys and have more time because they're either retired early or retired and want to continue to enjoy traveling. So we expect we'll have quite an array of guests on board, but we are targeting probably that, what I said, the affluent, working, wealthy age group.
Yeah, that's just a great model, and there's such an emphasis today on the small ship and upscale cruising. Definitely a burgeoning market in the industry. I'm absolutely. I see that being open to the family is certainly something that's going to set you apart from some of the other lines, which tend to focus primarily on the empty nesters and people that are traveling just as couples. Anything else that you think sets you apart, particularly from the other guys in the market?
Oh my gosh, there's not one single thing that I could say that is our one big differentiator. I think we have multiple differentiators. And, I mentioned the mantra of space, choice, and privacy, kind of weaving into everything that we have been doing as far as building the ships and as well as building the experiences and the product on board. And through that, because of the size of our ships, so our ships are actually 63,900 tons. And great. I love that you brought that up. That's one of my favorite images. Our ships are 63,900 tons, and we're carrying 900 guests on board. And I bring up that number and the tonnage because there are others in the same space that we are in the industry, but they put around 1,100, 1,200, 13 guests on board. So you can see that our guest to space ratio is much more generous. And because we have a bigger guest to space ratio, that gives us the ability to have the largest lead-in suites in the industry as far as square footage is concerned. The image that you're seeing right there is an image of our very top suite, which is our owner's residence. And that's over 3,000 square feet, and it spans the entire aft of deck 8. But our lead-in suites, our ocean terrace suites, they're 371 square feet. And 82 of those are adjoining suites. So that allows for that family accommodation. And then in between the ocean terrace suites and our residences, we also have penthouse suites that range from about 500 square feet up to over 700 square feet. We want our suites on board to feel like homes because we're welcoming you into our home and we're hosting you on board. Because we have more space as well, it allows us to have 4 pools on a ship of this size, which
Wow, that's unheard of.
Yeah, that you don't typically have. So we have 2 beautiful pools in the aft. You can see here our deck 5 aft pool. And one thing about this pool and the others as well, we have 64 cabanas throughout the ship at our various pools that guests can enjoy and feel a little bit more private, a little bit more intimate. So we have 2 pools in the aft. We have a center pool that is a glass covered retractable pool. So for those destinations that we're traveling that are a little bit cooler, guests
Alaska.
Alaska, the Norwegian fjords, Iceland and Greenland, they could still enjoy a pool experience and relax in that area. And then we have another pool in the forward. The other thing that space allows us to do is it allows us to have multiple dining options. And on a ship this size, you don't typically see as many dining options as we have. So we're going to have 9 different culinary experiences. And actually, if you think about it, we actually have 10 if you count room service. And those culinary experiences are going to help to give the guests more choice, but also give them more privacy. If you think about it, you can't have choice without space, and you can't have privacy without space. So the ability to have those multiple culinary opportunities on board is going to give guests the feeling of more of a vibrant city, a cosmopolitan type city. And also those restaurants that we'll have on board for those cruisers that are on the line and listening today, think about it. Typically on a ship, you're going to go to a bar in one location in the ship and probably have a drink before dinner, and then you're going to go to the restaurant. But when you go out in a cosmopolitan city, a lot of times you go to the restaurant, which has a bar in it, and you enjoy a drink before your reservation and enjoy the ambiance of the restaurant, and then sit down and enjoy your meal. You don't do that on a ship, but on our ship, we're going to actually have bars in our restaurants too, in most cases. So it'll feel much more like a cosmopolitan city.
I love that.
Yeah.
More like dining in a lovely restaurant in your
Hmm.
neighborhood.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
that. And
Exactly.
and I have to say, I'm just going back to
I
this
know.
suite. I think
It's lovely.
that is one of the most attractive,
Yeah.
uh, I mean, that it has an elegance, but it just also makes you just feel like it's welcoming
Comfortable.
you on board. Like you
Yeah.
said, you want it to feel homey, and boy, I think that you really, I love the decor and the spaciousness, everything. I think that is beautifully thought out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a little story about that. So, our company is owned by the MSC Group, which is the Mediterranean Shipping Company, which currently now, as of I believe yesterday, is the largest shipping company in the world. So, if you look around your room, they're responsible for 28% of the goods that are brought into the United States.
Wow.
So, and worldwide. So, if you think about it, you look around and you go, wow, 28% of this stuff that's in my home probably came from MSC Shipping Company bringing it to me. But the family that owns MSC, the Aponte family, has been extremely involved in the development of Explora Journeys. And Alexis Aponte Vega, who is the daughter, she actually has been extremely involved in the design and the interior design of many of our suites with the intent of making them feel extremely comfortable and homey. So you'll see that weaved throughout. And the company is based in Switzerland. So you'll also see that gold Swiss luxury weaved throughout the entire brand as well. But getting back to the choice aspect and kind of the
Mhm.
differentiators, our entertainment is also going to be handled differently. We don't have one theater that everyone flocks to for first and second seating dinner. We have multiple entertainment venues throughout the ship so that guests could go to the casino, they could go to a cabaret show, they could go to a jazz show, they could listen to a piano bar experience. There'll be lots of different opportunities for them, again, spread throughout the ship, both during the day and the evening, to feel much more like that cosmopolitan city vibe. And then we will have a big focus on well-being and fitness, with our spa and fitness space being over 10,000 square feet.
Wow.
And there's a lot more of our story that is to be told. So we haven't released a lot of information regarding our culinary experiences, regarding our spa and fitness areas. All of that is forthcoming. So definitely stay tuned with us, because the stories are going to evolve and they're going to be very captivating and very immersive for our guests, because again, that art of listening that we have, I think, curated very well as we've built this brand is going to come through in everything that we've done.
Well, I foresee that this is not the last time that we are going to be welcoming you
I
on
hope
board
not.
as a guest with Let's Talk Travel. I think there's much more to explore here.
Yes.
Uh, what about destinations, Aimee? Can you share a few of the prime destinations and
Hmm.
as your ships launch, kind of a timetable for launching? What's going to be the first to sail? Kind of just give us a little bit of info
Sure, I
on
would
that.
I would love to. So we actually are building 4 ships in our fleet. They will all be the same size, the same layout, and the first ship is to be introduced in May of 2023. The second one will then come out in 2024, and then we'll have one in 25 and 26 as well. We do have the option for 2 additional, so we could potentially have 6 ships in our fleet once this is all said and done. But the first ship, in May of 2023, she will head off on her maiden voyage, her maiden journey, starting from Barcelona. And what's unique about our first year of journeys is that we are not going to be home porting in any one destination. And when I say home port, that means we won't sit in Barcelona and continue to do round trip, like 10 and 11 night sailings out of Barcelona. She'll start in Barcelona on that first maiden voyage. It's going to be an 11-night voyage that goes from Barcelona to Athens. And then from there, she just continues onward. So from the Mediterranean,
Mm.
she will go into Northern Europe. She'll go to the UK and Ireland. She'll go to Iceland and Greenland. She will hit the eastern seaboard of the US during prime fall foliage time and hitting Canada as well. Then down to the Caribbean for festive, all the way around South America until she hits the Hawaiian Islands in the spring of 2024 and will be in Vancouver in May of 2024. So we're also not repeating ports of call. So really, folks, if you wanted to, you could do a 365-day world cruise with us and not repeat ports of call.
Exactly.
I'd love to have you on board. We'd love to welcome you to your home away from home on Explora Journeys. And then once that first maiden season is complete, Explora One will then actually do a full season in Alaska, which I'm super excited about.
Wow.
And Explora Two will then come out in the Mediterranean. Now, some other things about our destinations and our journeys that we're offering. So that inaugural year, many times companies will introduce a new ship and they'll have one inaugural voyage and then it's all said and done. We don't really talk much more about where they're going. We actually are going to have 8 inaugural voyages. So in each of those regions that I mentioned, we have plans for 8 inaugural voyages where we will celebrate the fact that we are new into that region, and those guests that are sailing with us in that region are going to have some little added bonuses and benefits for coming with us along this inaugural season. We also are, again, from that art of listening, we heard that guests want to spend more time in destinations. They want to travel a little bit slower. I think, one of the silver linings of the pandemic has been that people are realizing that going fast and checking off those 1,000 places to see before I die bucket list type of experience really isn't the way to travel anymore. It's more about slow travel, slowing down, really enjoying the destination, really immersing yourself, taking away a bit of the culture, learning more about the people. And so we've really taken that into consideration with our journeys. And you'll see we're staying longer in destinations. We are spending more overnights in destinations. And we've also thoughtfully curated sea days within our journey itineraries because we know that guests want to decompress and they want to relax. And we have beautiful ships that they can do that on. And they really are floating hotels with all of the amenities. And we're bringing those destinations to you by way of the journeys that we've curated. So,
And there's something to be said for the port intensive, but we have
mhm.
clients who absolutely look forward to they absolutely
No.
love those sea days when they
Mhm.
can just relax. The schedule is theirs to make. They don't have to be ready to get off it and explore a port.
Yep.
It's totally up to them how they spend the day, and people love that.
They do. They do. And the other thing they love too about the way that we've curated our journeys is that the average length of our journey is just over 8 nights. So you can see a lot within that 7 to 8 night time frame. But if you want to stay with us longer, you can collect journeys back to back. And there is a benefit to doing that. You can get a value discount off of the back to back collection of journeys. So that's important to note as well. But you can spend 8 nights, 15 nights, 28 nights. We are celebrating a 54-night inaugural maiden grand voyage with us. We have in the Mediterranean, we've got like a 48-night Northern Europe grand voyage that we're advertising. And then we also have a South America grand voyage. So for those guests that want to spend that longer time with us, there is a benefit to doing that as well.
And more people, I think, are recognizing the benefits of those back-to-back
Mhm.
voyages, whether you do 2, 3, or 5 back-to-back. I mean, you're going to pay for the airfare once.
Right.
Go ahead, get on the ship, and then just extend that trip out. If you have 28 days or 36, whatever you have, those back-to-back, and when you have a planned itineraries like this where you're not repeating ports, you won't see Barcelona 4 times.
Right, right, exactly. And with our product being all inclusive, and you've got the multiple dining options, so all of our dining venues are included, specialty restaurants, all of the beverages are included, your gratuities throughout those voyages, whether they be one or back to back, are included. And the other thing I want to point, there's a few other things. You get champagne in your suite. We have city shuttles to the city centers. But one thing I want to point out is we will have the highest speed Wi-Fi at sea, especially when it comes to luxury guests. And keep in mind, we talked about those affluent, working, wealthy. We know they want to disconnect, but they don't ever really disconnect.
Never.
I mean,
No,
let's be real.
that is not happening. Even for me, my laptop goes where I go. I have worked. I tell people, I laugh and say, I've worked on the Amazon River. I've worked 8,000 feet up in the Andes Mountains. I have to take care of my clients. And so when you have attorneys and other professionals, they have to travel connected these days. It's just the expectation. So I salute you for that Wi-Fi, because that is a huge consideration. And something that our professional clients really always want to know. How's the connectivity? Can I see
and to speak to that, because we are building these ships from scratch, we are actually, I learned last week, we are actually going to have routers in every single suite. So that's going to speak to the reliability of our Wi-Fi and how high speed it will be. We don't want to disappoint those guests.
That is going to be cutting edge in the cruise industry. I don't think anyone else is doing that. So you also talking about excursions, and that's I almost hate to call these experiences an excursion, because they're really curated experiences that you can make available to your guests. You have options for exclusive VIP access and private experiences. Can you give us a little more information about that?
Yeah, so we're actually, the word excursion is kind of, we're not using that word either. We're calling them destination experiences, because they are just that, Pat. They are experiences. And we've curated 5 levels of experiences in each of the destinations that we're going. So we'll be able to offer to those guests who do just want to do an elevated city type tour with other guests. We will offer that, but no more than 25 guests on a tour. We're not going to be filling these huge motor coach buses. So we want to keep in mind, even when we're ashore, we want to keep in mind that idea of the choice and the space option, as well as the privacy too. So from that level of experience all the way up to the most bespoke type experience that you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else but with Explora Journeys. And we'll be announcing more about our destination experience story here right after the first of the year, because we will be open for public sale at the end of January. And we fully intend that our destination experiences will be available at that time as well. So you'll see some pretty amazing partnerships. And once again, things that you won't be able to do anywhere else but with Explora Journeys. So look for that to come.
I love this. The exclusivity really has a broad appeal to many travelers today, when you're having those experiences that you can't otherwise access. That is a great selling point for your product as well. And so you said that your sales will be opening in January.
So we'll be open for public sale, but we are actually open for sale with our trusted travel advisors right now. So if any of your clients that are listening today are anxious and wanting to get in with us right away, and I know many cruisers love to be part of a first, and we of course are a first, you can book through Pat right now and get in at our ground level, get in at our inaugural rates, because our intent is that once we start to fill inventory, those rates will go up. And I know Pat can definitely secure that for you and get you in on any of those journeys.
As your launch fares are the old days when you wait for last minute specials, folks, those have long since gone away. Rare occasions now you get something like that, but you typically now your best deal is to book early. Of course, book often. That helps too. Loyalty has its perks.
It does. And we will have a loyalty program. We don't have any ships sailing yet, so it's kind of hard to have a loyalty program when you don't have any ships in the water. But very close to the launch date of the actual first maiden voyage, we'll start to announce more about our loyalty program as well.
Most excellent. Yeah, there's still a lot of news to come
Yeah.
with Explora Journeys. I wanted to show this image here. You guys are going to have a whiskey and cigar
Yes. Yes,
kind of
we are. We're going to have
uh,
a whiskey and cigar space with some very,
lounge.
very highly curated whiskeys, as well as some lovely cigars for those guests that like to sit down and enjoy that type of indulgence.
And those are very popular. I mean, the
Mhm.
whiskey, it is really, I mean, you have so many aficionados out there
Mhm.
now, and having that on board is definitely a
You
plus.
know what? You know what else that's been really hot lately that we're going to have on board? Pickleball. Pickleball is like all
Really?
the rage, and we are going to have a pickleball court on board. So
Oh
excited about
my
that.
goodness. Yes, everybody is playing pickleball
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
That is great. What about COVID protocols? Do you have any insights on what requirements there you will have out there?
Yeah, so we're not launching until May of 2023, but we continue to follow the science extremely closely because we do want to make sure that everything that we do on board by way of building the ship, as well as then the ultimate product delivery on board, is following the science and cutting edge as far as the protocols are concerned. So while I can't sit here and say we're going to be doing this, 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 and this right now, as we get closer, you can guarantee that we will definitely be in line and above expectation when it comes to any COVID or any type of protocols that would need to be in place to make sure that our clients and our guests do stay healthy and safe while they're on board. The MSC group as a whole, with our sister company MSC Cruises, has been the leader in the industry as ships started to get back into the water. So it's very comforting to know that we do have all of that experience behind us and we're part of that. And we will continue to carry that on as we get closer to our maiden voyage and launch date too.
Yeah, MSC was the first
Mm-hmm.
large ships to sailing weeks
Yes.
before any of the other lines launched.
Mm-hmm.
So they were kind of out there doing cutting edge and doing it very, very successfully.
Yep.
So Aimee, I've always got to be conscious of the time. Is there anything important that we haven't covered that our audience should know about Explora Journeys before we close?
Well, I would just say stay connected with us. I know Pat will stay connected with us and share with you the latest and greatest as far as news and stories are concerned, and would love to come back as our story does continue to evolve and develop and help you learn more about our journey. And we would love to welcome you with us on the journey as well. So thank you again for the time. And yeah, we're
Oh,
excited.
great. Finally, do you have any special offers or promotions that we can offer to our listeners right now?
So right now, as far as promotions are concerned, when you book with us, if you book with us and you decide to pay in full early, you will get a discount. It's about 10%.
Oh, that's
And
significant.
yeah, it's pretty generous. And then, of course, those back to backs, we do have various different discounts based on the back to back sailing, back to back journeys that you might be booking with us. But there is that definite advantage if you pay in full early. So I know a lot of people have saved their dollars during COVID and have saved up for some of those bigger trips, and hopefully maybe an Explora Journeys trip is one of those.
Well, when and 10%, that is a really significant savings. So worthwhile to take a look and see if you can't just go ahead and book and pay in
Yeah.
full at the time of booking. Um, and we'll sweeten the deal on that one. But Aimee, if anybody books for the month of December, anybody who books for the Explorer Journeys for one of your cruises, we're going to give them a our newest exclusive Dancing Moon Travel tote bag, hot off the
Yay.
press, and some great binoculars, so you will not miss a
Wow.
thing during your journey. So, folks, wouldn't it be just absolutely amazing to be among the first to sail with Explora Journeys and experience this? This is just an incredible, unusual product firsthand. Just reach out to secure your spot. Be perhaps even on one of their inaugural voyages.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Well, Pat, that sounds like that would be a great Christmas present to open up under the tree.
oh yes, yes, I would love that myself. Yeah. And to our listeners, thank you again for tuning in. We are so grateful for you taking time to plug in with us. And if you're listening live, only for our live listeners tonight, I have some packing cubes I'm going to give away. You just have to type into the comments section the word Explora. That's Explora, and you will be entered into our drawing for some great packing cubes. They will make packing for your cruise journey amazing. So,
I never leave anywhere without my packing cubes these days.
yes, yes. And Aimee, thank you so much for joining us. I am delighted to learn more about Explore Journeys, and I am so happy to have you on board as a preferred partner with us. Friends, luxury travel and adventure travel are so popular now. Those exclusive journeys, you just can't do better than Explore Journeys. So thanks again, everybody, and thank you again, Aimee. So appreciate all of you. Bye now.
Bye. Thank